to make a long story short, it was Larry Costa who raced for the Bellevue Aces, Brad who raced for the Wimbledon Dons, and me who quit early and went to college. And I was in second place in the points, and Larry Costa was third place in the points for the year for the match race championship, and Brad was leading the points. So it was me against Larry Costa, and I luckily beat Larry to race Brad Oxley. And they interviewed me at the intercom, and they asked me, like, you know, so tell me, like, do you think you have a chance to beat Oxley tonight on the King of the Hill? And I was kind of a little bit cocky, arrogant rider, but I was doing really good. And I just said, yeah, I think I can beat him. Like, no problem. Like, I'm going to give it my all, and I'm going to go for Brad. And I think I'm going to take him down. And I look over at Brad's pits because I was standing in the stands doing this interview on the intercom. And there's Brad Oxley looking at me, and I'm like, hi, Brad. And there's his dad, Harry, going, and he was looking at me. And then there was his tuner, the late, great George Wynn, and he was looking at me rather upset. And I was like, you know, Brian, you got to, like, beat this guy because you're talking a lot. And I don't think Harry Oxley's too happy with you. And we had the big championship race at the end of the season, the big final. And I got lucky, and I had beaten Brad 2 out of 3 times for the match race championship title. And to this day, Brad always remembers that first championship. One time when I went to get my 2-digit number, some of the riders were mad. They went into Brad's office. And they said, Brian should not get that 2-digit number 77. And Brad said, have you ever beaten me before? And the rider said, no, Brad, we never beat you. And Brad said, well, Brian beat me from my first championship, so Brian can have my 2-digit number that he wants. And Brad issued me my 2-digit number. And the riders were kind of shocked. But it was the old days, and Brad, like I say, he got better and better, and he progressed, and he became a star speedway rider. You know, Brad grew. He was kind of small when I raced him, and he got bigger and taller, and Brad just developed himself, you know, from just being a promoter's son to being a United States Speedway champion. Brad was just a hard charger. And he raced, like I mentioned, for the Wimbledon Dons, the old Wimbledon Dons. You know, I went to that stadium when Brad was racing. I wanted to see him race because I was in Wimbledon in London, and it was not the race night and stuff, but I wish I would have gone and seen Brad race. I would have loved to have seen that, but I guess he did pretty well. It's not easy racing in the British League against the top dogs, that's for sure. But Brad, I'm sure, held his own and did his best. And after a couple of years of racing for Wimbledon, he came home and he raced at the Southern California at all the tracks.